everybody. How we going? Everybody doing well? Oh, I gotta play my song. Hold up. There we go. This is the bop, really. For getting the show started? It doesn't get much better than this song right here, baby. Come on, don't even F with me. I gotta wait another couple minutes before I curse. Yo! If you're watching over on X right now, I could use your support over on YouTube. Head on over. It's YouTube. It's the same name. It's youtube.com/@CorbinDoster. Could use your support. We need more subs. We get all the views, but we need more subs, bro. That's the issue I'm having. Multi-streaming has been awesome. So happy. I hope you're watching over at... oh, let me take this down. I hope you're watching... Yeah, I got a new fit today. What's up? Vampire Slayer Corbin. Let's go. If you're watching over on Kick, same thing, guys. Head over to YouTube and sub, and then everybody head over to Kick and follow, guys. Like, appreciate you tuning in. I'm looking forward to a fun stream today. A lot happened. It's been a few days. I should have streamed like a couple of times since now. I'm a lot more chilled out. I was kind of flipping out over the Iran strike. If you saw my lives from then, I was having a little bit of a moment. I was pretty upset, but we've got a whole lot of Trump victory lap shit to do today. He really exceeded my expectations for what I thought he could do and what I thought he would do, guys. Like, for real. I really did not see this much winning coming. I really didn't, you know? Pretty big deal. Pretty crazy. I'm very excited to get into it. I've got all these videos lined up, queued up. We're gonna watch his speech on the Big Beautiful event, at the Big Beautiful event for the Big Beautiful bill. We've got a press conference with Hegseth to watch, where they cover exactly how the strikes went, what went down there. I've got a big, huge Twisted Tea. They make an extreme one now that I bought by accident. It's got a lot of alcohol in it. So I might get a little bit uppity. I guess we'll see. And then for fun, just to kind of break things up, maybe you've seen this video. I'm very excited to watch it with you. I did see it. I pre-watched it. I'm not going to lie. But I'm excited. Yeah, I wanted to show you, too. I posted something on it earlier. Hold on. Let me pull this out of my recycle bin here. Hang on. Take a look at this, guys. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Check this out. Look at that. And that's from earlier today. That's from earlier today, gang. Look at that. We haven't even been up for a full month. That's huge. That's huge. So I wanted to take like a second at the beginning of this stream to be like, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching my shit here. And I appreciate you getting into the politics with me. I just appreciate you all around. But that being said, we gotta get this number up. We gotta get that. These are rookie numbers. We could do better than this. Judging by this, we should be much better here. So I appreciate it. If you have any friends that like this kind of content, I don't want just like your homie subbing for like pity subs. But if you do have a friend that likes this kind of content, be sure to share it with them. We could use the support from people that like this sort of stuff. And if you're not already subscribed, do it yourself. You know, you're here. You might as well sub. But yeah, that's enough shilling. I do really, again, I can't thank you guys enough. This is a crazy amount of views. I've had, this isn't my only channel that I've ever done. This is crazy though. This is insane. You guys are spectacular. You're beautiful. You're amazing. Really. Yeah, I had one video pop off on another channel and it just didn't convert to subs because it wasn't like the video didn't like align with what the channel mostly did. I could probably show it to you guys actually because I have I don't show my face in it, and so I'm trying to keep my identity secret, but yeah. Anyway, let's get right into it. I've been stalling enough. We're 7 minutes in. We have a lot to go over. Most of these are pretty short, but these two are going to take quite a bit of time, obviously. We've got almost 2 hours of the big, beautiful Trump doing a big, beautiful speech at the big, beautiful event. One big, beautiful event. And not included in my prep for today is actually... Oh, yep, just a quick one. A massive dub from the Supreme Court. Really excited to cover that with you guys. So let me, my phone was just buzzing. Hopefully you didn't hear it. Let me turn that on silent. And without any further ado, let's do this shit. All right, volume down. And here we go. So, basically, my last stream was the night of the attack on Iran. We were live when Trump came out to the podium and gave his speech on everything. That was pretty crazy. I was pretty upset about the whole thing. I hadn't streamed since then, and a lot of good things have happened. Great things. Some people say they're the best things. And I'm really excited to get into it because we apparently... we are just winning so much with the new Trump. Trump 2024 is way better than previous Trumps. I'm in favor of the new Trump term coming. We're going to do another Trump. We're going to do Trump round 3. We got to keep the train moving. So here we go. Let's hop into it. So this here, this is the strike. Let's mute it, actually, or put it down low. So here you can actually see the strike happening with Israel. Now this is before we did our thing. So during these strikes here, they were actually targeting the anti-air missile defense systems that Iran had in place around their nuclear facilities. And the reason they were doing that is so that the B-2s could get in and do their job, right? So this was all planned out for a while. This video is old, but it was recently released, I believe. Actually, this is 2 weeks ago, so maybe not. Maybe it's not that recent, actually. Maybe I just found it recently anyway. But so it turns out that most of the strikes that Israel did after the first strikes taking out the leadership were mainly on these missile defense systems and silos. We talked in another video about how Iran had a limited amount of missiles to fire, and that's important to note because that's why they were targeting those things, right? So just crazy video, big explosions, very American. We love that stuff. So let's move on. Here we go. So after the strikes, we had a couple of days of like, what's going to happen? And then we got this ceasefire announcement. I'm trying to go through the timeline. These should be relatively in order, but it might be a little messed up. So this is right after the strikes, a few days after, 3 days ago, right? So
Israel ceasefire. After 12 days of deadly attacks, President Trump announced a ceasefire overnight, but Israel quickly accusing Iran of violating the agreement, vowing to respond with force. Iran denying this. The president just...
Yeah, they deny it because I'm pretty sure Iran fired like a single missile and it was intercepted. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I think I have to look into this part with more detail. I think technically Iran did violate it first, but it didn't really count, kind of thing. But then Israel goes nuts and they drop like a gajillion fucking bombs.
Just left the White House for a long-scheduled NATO summit in the Netherlands. We want to get right to our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. She's there at The Hague, where the president will be attending the summit. And Mary, we know the president spoke just moments ago. What did he say?
Well, Robin, I can tell you that President Trump is not happy this morning. This has been a head-spinning pace of developments overnight, and the president this morning
was this the curse day?
That the ceasefire he celebrated and announced just hours ago is now in question, telling our Rachel Scott as he left the White House just
3 days
ago
ago
that these two countries
is when the ceasefire happened.
They're doing.
This morning, just hours after President Trump
this clip is
announced
great.
A ceasefire,
I think we have a better
will
version of it. If that's going to be the rest of the story, then we'll come right over here. So, this is a good question. Do you believe Iran is, or Iran? Hold on. We have to get to the bottom of this really quick. Iran pronunciation. All the MAGA people are like, I'm not interested.
Iran.
Iran. Okay, well, there you go. Iran.
I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Okay, so she asked, just a quick, I know it was 20 seconds ago, but hopefully my Zoomers here are keeping up. She asked specifically if Iran is committed to peace after violating the ceasefire. And Trump says yes. I think they are.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came
And then when asked about Israel, this is his response.
out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, okay, so I was right. I don't know if he's exaggerating. Trump tends to exaggerate, but apparently Iran, that's going to take some getting used to. I've been saying it like George Bush my whole life. Iran. But Iran they fired like one rocket and it got intercepted. And then Israel was like, go fuck yourself. And they dropped like a bajillion bombs. And so you've got Trump being like, yeah, I think Iran is committed to peace. Israel, though, Israel dropped many bombs. We don't want that. We want less bombs. Iran was firing bombs of peace, peaceful bombs, but Israel was not. So, you know, this is you know, where he kind of loses his shit. I like that he's going after Israel because I think that Israel gets treated way too nicely. It depends, right? Like if you look on one side of the aisle, they get treated with kid gloves way too nicely. And if you look at the other side of the aisle, they get treated like demon monsters. And obviously neither is correct. It's somewhere in between. But, you know, I don't really care for this model. I'm going to change this model. We're going to go to engineer. Engineer is pretty lit. I'm going to stick with engineer. I feel like the difference between closed mouth and open mouth is just a little... It's a lot, right, on this one. So I might have to do this one again. But this one, it's a lot cleaner. I don't know. We got the... I'll have to... I don't know. We're going to... Oops. Sorry. We're going to keep this one. But anyway, I do think that they treat Israel a little too nice on one side and a little too harsh on the other. There's no moderacy with this issue at all. And it's one of the things that really drives me nuts. Like, this was bullshit, and it was totally Israel being bullshitty. And you know, anyway, another day, there's a nice long debate with Andrew, what's his name? The debater, the master debater. Does anyone in chat know if you're listening? Andrew, it's not Wilson, is it? I used to work for a guy named Andrew Wilson, but I think it might be Andrew Wilson. So he does a debate about how Christians shouldn't support Israel. And he talks about the same thing I was talking about just the other day. He talks about how they're trying to bring about end times through a prophecy, and this is directly in violation of Christianity because they're trying to bring about the Antichrist according to Christians, but to them it would be their prophet because they don't have a prophet like we do yet. So, you know, that's kind of... That's one of the things I was talking, the red heifer thing that I was talking about the other stream. That's Andrew Wilson talks about that in this debate, and one of these days I want to sit through and watch that whole thing. It's a good long debate, and I want to get through it with y'all because it kind of, I think it's pretty fair and balanced, and it's not super like, well, Israel's committing genocide, because Israel is not committing genocide, right? But at the same time, they need to clean up their fucking act. They're going way too crazy. They're trying to create this war with Iran. They're not happy about the ceasefire, clearly. So,
you know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Bro, they censored it? What? That's so gay. That's not what we wanted. Yeah, he dropped a F-bomb. He dropped a fuck bomb on live television. So that was pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here.
Well, Robin, I can tell you that these two countries don't know what the bleep they're doing.
This morning, just hours
they
after
don't
President
know.
Trump announced a
They're
ceasefire,
fucking
declaring
dicks.
that the war will soon be
I
over.
try to make peace, and they go out
Israel
and they
now
start
says
fucking
Iran has
around.
violated that agreement, vowing
So
to
they're gonna
respond
find
with
out.
force. Iran is denying firing missiles after the ceasefire went into effect overnight. Departing the White House moments ago for the NATO summit, the president reacting, furious.
And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel.
It was
See, he comes after them directly, and I like that. Good Trump. Good boy. Good Trump.
just a few hours earlier that Trump announced the ceasefire is now in effect. Please do not violate it. Both Israel and Iran agreeing to the truce. Trump optimistic that the agreement would pave the way to a lasting peace, congratulating both countries for having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. The president announcing the ceasefire just hours.
Bro, 12 days of shit in my pants thinking we were gonna get dragged into another fucking forever war. Let me tell you that. Holy shit. So glad this shit's over. So glad.
After Iran struck back at the U.S., retaliation for the U.S. strikes on their nuclear facilities. Iran targeting the largest U.S. military base in the region, the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, with what appeared to be 14 short and medium-range missiles. The U.S. and Qatar intercepting 13 of those missiles with no damage or casualties. Trump calling it a very weak response.
Very strong response from our servicemen and women at that Qatari Air Base. There's a section where we get to talk about that a little bit more later on with the Hag Seth video. Yeah, so this is covering a lot of this stuff, but I think we're done here. Let's move on to the next one.
They don't know what the they're doing. Israel, as soon as we made the deal,
Stop
they
censoring
came out and
me.
they dropped a load
I'm the
of bombs
president of the
which
United
I've never
States.
seen before.
If I want to
The
say
biggest load that
fuck,
we've seen.
I'll say
I'm not
fuck.
happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because
I wonder, is this public knowledge? How many bombs did Israel drop after the ceasefire? Let's see. Now, 3 hours ago, Gaza ceasefire within the possible... Oh, Trump's trying to get a ceasefire in Gaza. Failed to destroy Iran's nuclear sites. Yeah, this is bullshit. We're going to get into this. Oh, yeah, story dropped. Let's talk about this. A story dropped from CNN saying that the strikes that the U.S. did on the missile facilities failed and that nothing ended up, or that they didn't completely destroy or somewhat destroy all of the weapons and nuclear materials that they had. This is false. Don't believe it. The person who issued that leak to CNN was one of the people who was signed on to the Russian disinformation hoax article that came out a while ago. So just ignore all that. It's not real. It's fake news.
The one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Great, great statement from Donald Trump. All right, let's move on. There's also another video I'd love to go over. We don't really have time today. We're busting through these pretty quick though, but we've been going for 22 minutes now, and actually a little less because I didn't start it at the right time. Like we had this going for like a few minutes because I was still getting ready. But man, these 8% twisted teas, bro, let me tell you, they're kind of crazy. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, but we've got 2 hours of shit to go through here in a second. So we're busting through these quick, but rest assured, these are going to take a while. So let's just keep on keeping on.
This was retired Brigadier General John Tykert. He's a former fighter pilot and Pentagon official. General, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. Do you think this ceasefire holds, and do both sides have an incentive for it to hold?
Bill, clearly there was righteous anger by the president walking out to Marine Corps One as he left about any possible violations of the ceasefire. I think he sees, like we all should see, that in the last 2 weeks, Israel has set back Iran in multiple ways, and it is in their best interest and American best interest to allow this ceasefire to hold. And especially when you consider the Iranian incentives here, that with Israel having air superiority or the ability to strike any target at any time, that they do not have any reason for this war to continue. And so all incentives would suggest that Iran will not violate this ceasefire. Israel, with a strong admonition from the president, must not as well.
Yeah, I mean, duh. Otherwise, it's not much of a fucking ceasefire. You didn't really need to bring a general on to talk about, to say shit we all knew for a minute. Yeah, I mean, Israel bad for this one. That was fucking ridiculous. They shouldn't have done that. I don't know why they don't get as much flack as they deserve. They really should be getting ripped apart for that.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is it really seems like Iran would want to be looking for an off-ramp here. Case in point, when they attacked our base in Qatar yesterday, they apparently gave the U.S. a heads up beforehand. What does it say to you when your enemy tells you, hey, we're going to attack you and here's where it's going to happen?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Maybe Iran wasn't so bad after all. Iran.
Bill, yesterday at Al Udeid was clearly an off-ramp for the Iranians, that they did give us that intelligence heads up ahead of time, that planes and assets had already been dispersed and were heavily defended. And frankly, they attacked the most defended location in the middle of the Arabian Gulf, which tells me they were doing something to save face and very quickly accepted that off-ramp to the ceasefire last night.
Yeah, they probably knew.
Yeah, and I believe that the Strait of Hormuz is back open. I think that Iran tried to close it. But the issue is that, yes, Iran provides 20% of the world's oil. However, big but here, most of that, like 80% of it, goes right to China. So China was like, what the fuck are you doing? I need that. Don't do that. I need that oil. So they had to open it right back up. So they were kind of fucked. Like, diplomatically, they had their hands tied behind their back. And it's good to know that they're not quite as crazy as we believe they were.
All those missiles were going to be intercepted or shot down. So we saw President Trump angry and frustrated this morning. After he made those comments, after he dropped the F-bomb, he apparently had a call with Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. And Netanyahu's office released a statement after that phone call. If we can read part of that, it says, quote, following President Trump's conversation with Prime Minister Netanyahu, Israel refrained from further attack.
Bro, there was a ceasefire going on. What the fuck are you talking about?
In the conversation, President Trump expressed his immense appreciation for Israel, which achieved all of its war goals. The president also expressed his confidence in the stability of the ceasefire. So, General, President Trump is clearly trying to walk a tightrope.
Dude, what a fucking pussy-ass, pansy-ass, bullshit-ass statement from Netanyahu, bro. Like, you bomb the fuck out of them after a false missile, like, gets struck out of the air, basically. I'm starting to sound like Hassan here. I gotta be careful. But genuinely, like, this is such bullshit. I don't think our relationship with Israel is going to continue in the way that it has for very long. I think that there's going to be a breaking point where they, like, I think the other day was pretty close to one. They can't make Trump look like a fool on the world stage like that and get away with it. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna catch flack to it no matter how you try to shake it. So
Rope here. He really wants this ceasefire to hold. And it sounds like he made a personal phone call to Bibi Netanyahu when he heard Israeli planes were in the air and said, cut it out. We got to get this to calm down.
Bill, very clearly Israel had target sets they would like to continue to attack, but based on the advantages they have gained in the last 2 weeks that will allow this ceasefire to benefit Israel in the long run in the United States, I think that strongly worded statement by the president and then ultimately his conversation with the prime minister gave Israel all the incentive in the world to stop and abide by the ceasefire.
And in terms of whether or not Iran is going to violate the ceasefire, take a listen to what U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee said on Fox News last night.
You said it
Get your
wrong.
thoughts on the other
Fucking
side.
idiot.
If Iran thinks that they can violate the ceasefire, if they can go ahead and just keep doing what they've been doing and building a nuclear weapon, they'll find out that with President Trump, he's not playing. For a long time, we've been saying, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Donald Trump may be the first one to actually help make that happen.
Yeah, and I mean, really, now is the time to start talking about those Abraham Accords again, right? Like, there's some good shit going on in those, and I think that this would be a great time to push those forward in a more meaningful way now that we've got this peace deal brokered. This isn't the only peace deal that we've gotten brokered in the past couple of months. I mean, since Trump has been president, he single-handedly put a stop to the Pakistan and India nuclear crisis. He put a stop to several other smaller breakout wars that were happening. You don't even know about because nobody wants to report on it. I can't remember. See, it's so bad that I'm like such a Trump-loving stan. I don't know dick about him either.
Yeah, I think at this point, Iran probably knows President Trump isn't playing around after he took out Soleimani. Now he wiped out their nuke facilities. Got about a minute left. Your final thoughts.
Deterrence, that word that we throw around a lot, Bill, comes down to strength of capability and will. The United States has had strength of capability for years now, if not decades, but we've lacked the demonstration of strength of will until these last few weeks, and the last 4 years have been disastrous. But like Secretary Rubio said 2 days ago, American deterrence is backed up by the United States military, and certainly that is a strong position for the United States going forward.
Yeah, most certainly fucking is. Jesus Christ. After those attacks, bro, we fucked them up good. All right, cool. Good talk. Let's see. What do we got here? So after Israel attacked back and got a spanking from Daddy Trump. Oh my God, I have to have that clip, right? I don't? Okay, we're going to watch that. Hold on. we actually have some peace going on in the area, and we're probably going to talk at some point about how there's going to be an agreement. So he says he was asked if there would be a written agreement for peace beyond a ceasefire, and he says, I'll have Marco draw it up. Marco baby is going to get right on it.
We're with them all the way. I mean, if you take a look at the numbers, we're with them. I've been asking them to go up to 5% for a number of years, and they're going up to 5%, and that's a big, from 2%. And a lot of people didn't even pay the 2%. So I think it's going to be very big news. NATO is going to become very strong with us. I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki. But that was essentially the same thing. That ended that war. This ended that with the war. If we didn't take that out, they'd be fighting right now.
True.
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
I'm gonna say it. The N-word.
Should we keep this going?
I'm gonna say the N-word. Nuclear. All right.
We're with
So
them all the way. I mean, if
I
you
didn't
take a look
see.
at the numbers, we're with them.
Where's
I've been
the?
asking them to go.
Where did it go?
Thank you. Deborah Hayes from Sky News.
Hi.
Hello. The language that you have used when talking to Donald Trump has been notable because of its flattery. Today you called him Daddy, and you sent a text message to him that was...
I love the guy in the background laughing. Oh, fuck. Okay, that was all we were looking for. In this video, it's all cut up for some reason. Thanks, Forb, for sucking dick all the time. Forbes. But he calls him Daddy. He says sometimes Daddy has to come in and stop the fighting. So, unless I was just in my own head and didn't even hear it.
The latest update on the situation that's happening in between Iran and Israel. The on-again, off-again ceasefire is apparently on again as we take a live look at Tel Aviv this noon hour. Before leaving for NATO.
This is before all that other stuff. We can actually skip this one. We got the gist of it. It's over. We're all good now. Everybody's smacking butt cheeks and saying good game.
And Andy, let me just interrupt you for a moment here, because in my ear, the producer is saying that the birthright citizenship case is the first one. We do not know the result yet, but that is coming. Shannon is looking at it now, Andy.
Okay, this is a big deal. So, Donald Trump basically sent to the Supreme Court, I mean, I'm putting it in the most layman's terms possible, but because I myself am a layman. He right now in America, you can come here, whether you're a citizen, an illegal, or what have you, have a child, and that child will be a citizen of the United States. That's birthright citizenship. By removing birthright citizenship, you make it so that one or both of the parents have to be citizens or naturalized or something before, and then the child can gain citizenship. So that's essentially what we're going over here. They're trying to revoke birthright citizenship as a law. In fact, when birthright citizenship was made into a law, it was done so after slavery was ended. And they did it because the idea was, hey, we need to make sure that the slaves and the children of slaves are citizens. What's the best way of doing that? And they said, well, we can just make it so that if you're born here, you're a citizen. And they were like, well, okay, but and they actually argued about this when they were passing the law. They were like, well, what if people just come here and then have babies and they're not citizens and they kind of break through the system? And he's like, it won't be used for that. There's no way it'll ever be used for that. We're going to make sure it's not used for that. It was like, well, it was. So now we've got this system trying to be torn down. This is a big deal for a few different reasons, but let's see.
Yeah, you know, I have to make one overarching observation about this, Dana. When we were here last year doing all this, it felt much more consequential. Not to say that Supreme Court cases are anything other than consequential, but last year we had these cases that were on which the balance of the 2024 election seemed to rise and fall. And I'm kind of thankful to be back in an environment where the Supreme Court is doing what the Supreme Court does, and it doesn't feel like the democracy itself hinges on it.
And Jonathan, as we stand by and wait for Shannon Bream to update us on what the decision was, the way I understand it is SCOTUS isn't necessarily ruling on the constitutionality of birthright citizenship, the 14th Amendment. They're going to be ruling on the ability for these lower district judges to issue these nationwide injunctions. So depending on what we hear today,
this is one of the things that's the most important about this. And this is one of the things that really bugged me the most, probably, I think, about the No Kings riot stuff going on. They were running around saying, oh, he's a king, we got to get rid of him. It's like, meanwhile, district court judge rules that Trump has to withdraw from Iran. It's like they were going so far beyond what they were able to do legally and do with injunctions that it is actually crazy. They were trying to direct international law and foreign relations, I should say, and it's just completely beyond the scope of what they're able to do. And so the fact that this actually is going to be, because really we know what happened with this now, they ruled for Trump, but the thing is that this wasn't really a super pro or a super against ruling. It was more about the injunctions thing. We want to see birthright citizenship be removed. It doesn't mean that you won't be a citizen if you have a child here, or sorry, they won't be a citizen, but I do think that it's
today we're still going to have question marks about birthright citizenship. Is that right?
That's right. And with the national injunctions or universal injunctions issue, the justices obviously were concerned. They have previously expressed their discontent with district courts issuing these orders. So there does seem to be a majority saying that this exceeded authority. The question is, how will they thread this needle? How will they limit the district courts?
Jonathan, let me just interrupt you. I'm sorry for the interruption, but Shannon has some information for us. Let's go to you, Shannon Bream. You're there with that case.
Shannon!
So this is at least a partial, if not a full, and we're reading this because there are several concurrences here, but it's written by Justice Barrett, which goes against the ruling that I just gave the guidance because she's one of the least junior justices, but she was assigned to write this opinion. And essentially what she says, some say that the universal injunctions give the judiciary a powerful tool to check the executive branch, but she says federal courts do not exercise general oversight of the executive branch. They resolve cases and controversies consistent with the authority Congress has given to them. When a court concludes the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed.
That chart is kind of the most annoying part about this. Because here's the thing. They were calling him a king, but he was actually working around all these injunctions. He's had more injunctions than any other president in the history of the United States. And this is the main reason why I'm like, there's no legitimate basis for calling this guy a king. He's getting these ridiculous injunctions and he shouldn't have to abide by them. Many of them are in violation of the law, and he is anyway, because he wants to be lawful. He needs to go further and ignore these places.
Branch has acted unlawfully.
Andrew Jackson, you've made your ruling, now let's see you enforce it.
The answer is not for the court to exceed its power, sounding very much like they are limiting these injunctions. We know here that they have granted at least partially the stay to these preliminary injunctions, but they say only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to each plaintiff withstanding to sue. They say the lower courts have to move expeditiously with respect to each of these plaintiffs. It says the injunctions are also stayed to the extent that they prohibit executive agencies from developing and issuing public guidance about the executive plans to implement the executive order. If you remember, part of this executive order on birthright citizenship, the stay was that the agencies that would be responsible for actually implementing the change with birthright citizenship, those agencies couldn't even start making a plan. So that part of it is lifted as well. We do see that the dissent here comes from the three Justice, as you expect, it looks like Justice Sotomayor filed the dissent. Kagan and Jackson joined that. Justice Jackson also filed a dissenting opinion, but there are a lot of concurrences here. Justice Thomas, Justice Alito, there are others. So we'll parse through this, but at its first blush, it looks like this is a win and putting a limit on these nationwide injunctions. We'll see how far those limits go as we dig back through this.
Got it. Want to bring Jonathan Turley back in. Shannon, thank you. So, Jonathan, it sounds like this is kind of what you were mentioning early.
All right. Honestly, I'm not interested in continuing this. I want to stay focused on our success in Iran. So let's move forward. We're going to get started with our first big video of the night. Secretary Hegseth is about to go over our strikes and talk about their success. Break apart some of the disinformation about how nothing was destroyed, but we're going to get into that right now. And I'm very excited for this. I actually did pre-watch this. I'm sorry. Sorry in advance. I pre-watched. I'm a terrible person. If you're here and you're just getting started with this, make sure you subscribe. Subscribe over on YouTube. Follow me on X. Follow me on Kick. It's Corbin Doster on everything. Corbin's Briefs on the Shorts channels. And we appreciate you being here. I'm excited to watch this with you. Let's get it right into it. Whenever they decide they're gonna fucking start. Looks like we've got a little while. Okay, so this video is a lot shorter than I thought. That's good news, because I didn't want to sit through that. Look at that. That's a lot. Okay. The cough.
I want to start with that real quick. I think there's so much news, so many things happening that oftentimes big, momentous moments get missed. What President Trump accomplished in NATO yesterday was game-changing and historic. A shift in burden sharing to European responsibility in NATO that most would have said was impossible at the beginning of his term. But he said NATO needs to pay up. They started in the first term, and here in his second term, we've accelerated that. 32 NATO countries committed to spending 5% of their GDP on defense.
Over the course of several years. But still, W, I mean, that's big, right? Like, we've got a pretty decent-sized issue. I've showed this a few times, but, you know, I should probably just save it. You know, we've got a pretty big issue. We need to make sure this is addressed. And one of the things that's not helping this at all is assisting in the military spending for foreign nations. There's no reason we need to be doing that. This is a lot of fucking money. This is a lot of money. Okay, guys? We got to get this under control. All right?
On actually investing in the NATO alliance. So I hope with all the ink spilled, all of your outlets find the time to properly recognize this historic change in continental security.
If you're here live with me, please feel free to join me in chat.
President Trump accomplished
would love to hear your thoughts.
It's a huge deal. You see, we're here this morning because in hunting for scandals all the time, in trying to find wedges and spin stories, this press corps and the press corps miss historic moments. You miss historic moments like 5% at NATO, which when you hear, I was in the closed-door briefing. I wish there could have been cameras in there. When you heard the prime ministers and presidents of other countries, to a man and to a woman, looking at President Trump and saying, this never could have happened, never would have happened. It seemed impossible 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 8 years ago. But here we are because of your leadership. If you ask them the question.
Breaking news. Pete Hegseth is a voyeur. He wants cameras behind closed doors. Breaking news.
At the Pentagon. Historic levels in the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. Yeah, maybe there'll be a little mention here or there. But because it was under President Trump's leadership, because Americans are responding to him as commander-in-chief, the press corps doesn't want to write about it. Or bring us to the topic of the moment, the highly successful strike.
It's so true. It's such an important thing. It's a miracle that Trump has any support given the amount of negative stories written about him and the amount of unfair negative stories written about him. It truly is an incredible thing. It really is.
Strikes in Iran. Let me read the bottom line here. President Trump directed the most complex and secretive military operation in history, and it was a resounding success, resulting in a ceasefire agreement and the end of the 12-day war.
Some say it was the shortest war.
Didn't happen. Step back for a second. Because of decisive military action, President Trump created.
I say that. I say it was the shortest war. Me,
Decimating,
President Trump.
Choose your word. Obliterating, destroying Iran's nuclear capabilities. I want to read some of the assessments that have been provided, because whether it's fake news, CNN, MSNBC, or the New York Times, there's been fawning coverage of a preliminary assessment. I've had a chance to read it. Every outlet has breathlessly reported on a preliminary assessment from DIA. I'm looking at it right now. Again, it was preliminary, a day and a half after the actual strike, when it admits itself in writing that it requires weeks to accumulate the necessary data to make such an assessment. It's preliminary. It points out that it's not been coordinated with the intelligence community at all. There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report there are gaps in the information. It says in the report multiple linchpin assumptions are what this assessment, a linchpin assumption, you know what that is? That means your entire premise is predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Again, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful. I'm going to get to the chairman in a moment because he's going to lay out the particulars for you based on his professional military experience. But here's what other folks are saying. The DIA that put that report out says that this is a preliminary low-confidence report and will continue to be refined as additional intelligence becomes available. How about the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission? The devastating U.S. strikes on Fordow destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility inoperable. Have any of these quotes made their way into the
we said this earlier today.
MSNBC?
You know, this
any of these quotes? How about this
leak came from one of the people who signed on to the Hunter Biden laptop story, Russian disinformation, like sheet of paper. One of the people involved in that was the one who leaked this information, quote unquote, to the to CNN.
How about the IDF's chief of staff?
Okay.
I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back by years. I repeat, years. The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe, the director of the CIA, putting out a statement just last night. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment with low confidence. He's saying historically reliable and accurate source and method that several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. CIA continues to collect.
So he's basically saying, I don't give a fuck what you heard. It's what you're hearing. This shit's done. We're over it. It's all been destroyed.
Quote, new intelligence confirms what POTUS has stated numerous times. Iran's nuclear facilities have been destroyed. Institute for Science and International Security President David Albright, overall Israel and U.S. attacks have effectively destroyed Iran's centrifuge enrichment program. Time and time again, I can go down the list, those that understand, those that see, those that do proper assessments recognize that what the United States military did was historic. And again,
all right, I'm going to bring it down to the questions portion. We get the picture. It's all been destroyed, obliterated.
Radcliffe or ODNI Gabbard, I read the statements at the beginning. They're the ones aggregating the intelligence, and they're saying nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over a number of years. Facilities were destroyed. What do we got right here?
Sir, you cited a body of credible intelligence to suggest the damage at Fort O and other places. What is that referring to, and when can we see it?
I was reading from the CIA director's statement, which came out last night.
Bro, the CIA is not going to be able to fucking tell you where their sources are. It's probably someone they've had planted in Iran for a long time.
They do the BDA, they do the assessment. CIA can confirm that
BDA is battle damage assessment.
a body of credible intelligence indicates, it also goes on to say, new intelligence from historically reliable and accurate sources and methods. Now, you can imagine the CIA director is going to be very careful about how he articulates things of that sensitivity. Classified, secret, top secret, compartmentalized. He's going to know things that you're not going to know, that the press isn't going to know, and he's reflecting that the sources he's seeing are highly credible. They've given credible intelligence. They or those processes have given credible intelligence in the...
Yeah, he's basically saying our spies tell us that we were successful.
Past. And that's what he's basing it on.
You think we need to see that?
No.
Do you have a top secret clearance, sir?
Eventually, the American public wants
Yes,
to
sir.
see it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, you.
I wanted to ask briefly just...
No, not you. Checkered shirt.
Oh, so Mike Glenn with the Washington Times.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Anybody who's ever read a Battalion S2 report after a fight knows that the initial report is usually wrong, sometimes grossly so. Has what happened in this incident caused y'all to sort of rethink the intelligence process or the dissemination, or do you think it's just if the process itself doesn't require any more adjustment?
Dude, this is so fucking nice. Look at that. Look at that. I would love one of these. Oh my God, that is so clean.
Well, I can tell you what the chairman told me in the Situation Room and reminded us all, which is alongside what you just said, sir, is that the first reports are almost always wrong. They're almost always incomplete, right? Anything, whether it's a squad level operation or a strategic level operation, the initial reflections you get are coming at you at a high rate of speed from a lot of different sources. So your job is to step back and assess them. And that's why we're urging caution about premising entire stories on biased leaks to biased publications trying to make something look bad. How about we take a beat, recognize first the success of our warriors, hold them up, tell their stories, celebrate that, wave an American flag, be proud of what we accomplished. And in the meantime, I can assure you, the chairman and his staff, the intelligence community, our staff and others are doing all the assessments necessary to make sure that mission.
50% of the country right now wouldn't wave a American flag if you fucking paid them. It's insane what's going on here right now. It's insane. All right, I think I've had enough of this one. Let's move on to something a little bit lighter. I'm very excited to talk about this. We've got the big, beautiful event. One big, beautiful event.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a good-looking group behind me. This group isn't too bad either. Hey, nice to be with you.
You're all very handsome. I could just kiss you. Do you guys remember that? When he was like, I'll come down there and I'll kiss you. I mean it. I'm not gay, but I'll do
To
it.
support one of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of our country, and that's everybody saying that, virtually everybody. The one big, beautiful bill to secure our borders, turbocharge our economy, and bring back the American dream. That's what's happening, too. It's met with tremendous approval and reception. And when we were thinking about doing it, we were going to break it down into 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 bills. And I said, let's make it one big, beautiful bill, Mike.
One big, beautiful bill.
They actually said it would be very much harder to get this way, but it would be better. And the truth is, I think it worked out well because there's something for everybody, and I think in many ways much better. We're delighted to be joined by Secretaries Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Pete Hegseth, Doug Burgum, Doug Collins, Sean Duffy, Howard Lutnick, Linda McMahon, Brooke Rollins, Scott Turner, Chris Wright. Wow, that's a hell of a group. I think that's the biggest group of cabinet members.
Some say it was a big group. I say it's the biggest group.
That's the biggest group of cabinet, and we're not finished yet because we have our great Attorney General.
Look at this profile. This is a very unflattering profile for President Trump. He's got his hands all flaccid on the side. He's got this weird, hold on. There's a shape here. I'm saying. Hold on, let me move this over. Come on, stop it. Work with me here. Here we go. We've got, I want to... This is the same. It's the same, except a little bit more chonk going on here. This is
General Pam Bondi here.
Tell me I'm wrong.
U.S. Trade representative, and he's working around 24 hours. We have them one after another. Countries come. Everybody wants to be with us because we have the hottest country in the world. A year ago, we had a disaster on our hand. We had the coldest country, I think, by far, and now we have the hottest. The King of Saudi Arabia, when I was there, we brought back $5.1 trillion between Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. And all three said, great leaders, they all said to me the same thing. It's amazing. In 4 months at that time, now it's getting to be close to 6. But in 4 months, they said, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's not even close. And they thought we were dead a year before that. They said, I thought you were dead. The country was dead. And it was pretty close to it. But we have the hottest country in the world, so it's great.
We were dead.
Jamieson Greer is very busy because, where are you, Jamieson? Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime, making deals with other countries.
So hot.
A few months ago, the press.
It's so hot all over the country.
Anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good. And we also have OMB Director, who's very busy also. Russ Vogt. Thank you. Thank you, Russ. And also, I want to give a very special thank you. This is a hell of a group we have here. This is amazing. The quality of people.
God, the ramble. The ramble is so tough.
Most of those people much better than the people I just named, okay?
He's a funny guy, though.
But a very
Funny
special
guy.
thanks
Let's skip forward a little bit.
Remember that he got up so angry. He was so angry. He said, make America great again. But we'll deliver.
Make America angry again.
Spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border. You know, last month we had 0 people that crossed the border. 0.
And now he's definitely going to talk about how that's not enough and how they need to get everybody else out. And now there's too many people already on the inside.
They don't care. The border's been fixed. I wanted to talk about the border 2 days ago at a big group. Sir, they don't want to hear about the border. Why? It's fixed. You know, it's the second time it happened to me. In 2016, I won on the border. I fixed it in about 3 months. It was beautiful. And they wouldn't let me talk about the border. Sir, nobody wants to hear about the border. But we're going to talk about it anyway, right, Tom Holman? We're talking about it anyway.
Give it up for Tom.
So we have a big number of dollars that's coming here because we want to keep it that way and we want to keep it fixed.
Big, beautiful briefcase of cash.
We're bringing criminals out by the thousands. Nobody can even imagine. They let people in that were murderers. 11,888 murderers.
2,500 were arrested. I think that's right. It might be more, it might be less, but I think it was 2,500. Oh, excuse me. were
During
arrested
the campaign, I talked
last
about
month.
the great Hannibal Lecter. Do you know who that is? Hannibal Lecter?
Oh, not this
Silence of
Hannibal
the
Lecter
Lambs. I
shit
talk
again.
about it, and the papers would go crazy. Why does he keep mentioning?
When I was in high school, I joined my high school drama club, and I did that one scene from Hannibal Lecter, from Silence of the Lambs, where he's talking about enjoying their flesh with a glass of Chianti. And I did that monologue that he gave to Clarice as like the first thing I did in that class. And I remember this girl there. She was like very hood. I don't know how else to say it nicely. She was a sweet girl, but she was very, like, she was ratchet. And she was like, was that supposed to be scary? Because that was, like, really scary. I remember that a lot. I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. Oh, my gosh. I'm not going to be doing anything like that for you guys. Just not happening. I don't know. Maybe that'll be, like, our 1,000 subscriber goal. Is I'll do a fucking monologue, a really cringe monologue. Alright.
Well, because we won in a landslide. That's why they don't want to have Hannibal in our midst. And today I signed this bill into law. Almost every major promise made in the 2024 campaign already will have become a promise kept. And that's very important. Promises made, promises kept. And according to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for the normal family of four by at least $13,000. And that takes place immediately. That's not bad, right? Look, I'm looking at that guy back there, right? That's pretty good. And if we had a person over at the Fed that would lower interest rates a little bit, that would be helpful too. It's hard to believe. This is on top of, we have to fight this guy. He's not doing the job. Each point that he keeps it up is the equivalent of $300 billion. $300 billion. So if he lowered it to, it would save $600 billion. We have to work hard with cuts on that, right? That's a lot of cutting. And this guy could do it so easily. We don't have inflation. Well, we might have inflation. Yeah, and if you do, you raise the rate a little bit. That's okay. But we're going out because Biden gave us a lot of short-term debt. And given the short-term debt, he did us no favor. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably just extend the short-term debt and then go out, because I don't want to tie it up for 10 or 15 years at a high rate. But every point is it's really more, is $300 billion. So if we got it down to 1%, we're talking about almost $1 trillion in saving just with the stroke of a pen. No work, no missing anything, just like an accounting situation. Oh, Doug Collins, I just see Doug. Did I mention you, Doug? I don't think so. I'm glad I saw you. I'm glad that somebody's going to be in big trouble with you. They didn't write your name down, Doug. Somebody's in big, somebody's in, I got you. So we think of that, though. We save, and all you have to do, it's so simple. I'm explaining to this guy, and Biden extended him. That wasn't good. I'm explaining to him, you can do so much for our country. You could save $1 trillion just with a stroke of a pen. Just the utterance of a sentence that we're going to be cutting.
You know what they could also do? Crazy thought. Stop using this bullshit theft machine that is the Federal Reserve. How about that? How about go back to the gold standard? That'd be pretty cool. By the way, I'm still waiting for the tour of Fort Knox. I thought that was going to happen. I remember hearing about a tour of Fort Knox where we would see all the gold that's been stolen.
It's a shame. It's a shame. We're one of the highest. We should be the lowest. With the United States of America, we'd have money coming in like at levels that they have never seen. I got a call the other day from the people in Congress because we're doing our bill. I didn't even tell you this, Mike, and they called. They said, there's something wrong with the numbers, sir. I said, what's wrong? I don't know. They're not balancing out. There's something really wrong. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, we don't know. I said, what's the problem? We're taking in much more money than we have scheduled. I said, so far that sounds good.
It's a good problem to have. Something tells me we've got tariffs coming next. In this little speech, he's going to talk about tariffs. We're making so much money off tariffs.
They said, how much is it? About $80 billion. I said, do me a favor, check the tariff line.
Here it is.
An hour later. Sir, we've taken in $88 billion in tariffs. Isn't that a beautiful thing? $88 billion.
Yeah, we love that. It's not enough, but we love that. It's a start.
Go off script and tell these little stories, Scott, right? Because it does make it a little more interesting. Although my speech right.
Hold on. I've talked about this before, but I think it's worth reiterating since we're talking about tariffs. Total amount of money in all of global trade. Okay, so let's take a look here. $33 trillion in all of global trade, right? Okay, so I'm not very good at this, but we're going to do our best, okay? So we have 33, that's 33,000, that's 33 million, that's 33 billion, that's 33 trillion, okay, times 0.01. That is $330 billion that we could be making a year off of taking 1% of all global trade as a tariff, which we should be taking in exchange for providing safety and military support to the trade routes throughout the entire world. Easy money. Quadruple the tariff money he was talking about through all these hard-fought deals. And just 1% on everything in all of trade. Now, I think the big issue is that a lot of that trade comes from the U.S. But I made my point.
Writers have just gotten every award in the book. Vince, where are you, Vince? Good. Where are we? Where's Ross? He's gotten all these awards, and I'm going off the record all the time. Where is he? He didn't show up to the speech. He wrote the speech. He didn't show. Well, that means he has confidence in me. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American.
It's another thing that bugs me. So it's politician speak. The economy stuff really drives me nuts because there's so much bullshit that people say about the economy, and Trump is no different on a lot of that stuff. The government doesn't make jobs, okay? Now, I believe he's referring to regulations being repealed that will make more jobs. But here's the thing. In reality, the oligarchy is a very real thing, but the oligarchy is generated by corporatocracy, right? So you have a corporation like, for instance, Walmart, who starts off as a family-owned corporation. And then what happens is after a period of time, Walmart starts making a lot of money after they make their business and everything. And then what they do with that money is they don't reinvest it back into the business. They take a massive, massive portion of it and they use it to lobby the federal government for certain regulations to pass. When those regulations pass, it means that their competition, who's just getting started in the market, can't afford to keep up with that regulation. But Walmart, who has a ton of extra money in the coffers and has a massive market share, they can afford to pay for that extra regulation. So they price the competition out of the market via government regulation through backdoor lobbying deals. And that's what the oligarchy really is. It's a pseudo-monopoly system, and that's why most of the things in the United States are run by like a handful of companies. It's because of that type of shit. This is why regulation is bad, right? Like, think about anything you would like to do to run your own personal business. Do you want to open up a bar, a restaurant, a shipping company, a bookstore, all this different stuff? Well, you have about $70,000 at minimum, and like $150,000 on the higher end for other small bit, like for opening up a bar and that type of thing. In regulation, you have to pay in just to get through that's not including rent, that's not including employees, that's not including anything else. It is a miracle that there are any small businesses in this country. A miracle. Because when you look at this regulatory state that we have, it's what's creating an oligarchy. That's what the issue is. And this is the real issue that Daddy Trump needs to get on top of. Okay, guys? This needs to be addressed immediately. We don't have a real capitalist system. And I've said before, I'm in favor of regulation on some things. If you don't stop a company from pouring every bit of waste into your local river because it will save them money, they will do it because they're not people. It's a company, and they're legally obligated to do it. If it's a corporation that's publicly traded, the CEO is legally obligated to pour pollutants into the river if there's no regulation against it, because it is the most affordable thing to do. They're legally obligated to. They have a duty to their shareholders to do that. So you need regulation for shit like that. What you don't need regulation for is liquor licenses. What you don't need regulation for is how many wholesale products you can buy at one point in time. What you don't need regulation for is stuff like that. They regulate things that don't matter because it prices small businesses out from being able to compete with massive businesses. But it does protect us in other ways. So it's like this weird catch-22. You just need to treat it properly and stop fucking around.
By nearly 15%, and increased take-home pay for a normal family by an incredible $13,000. All of these things are happening. And by the way, there's no inflation.
That, I believe, off of the overtime, the no tax on overtime alone, at a certain point you get taxed so heavily on overtime that actually you make more money not doing overtime. Like, I remember that was something I would have to math out at some of my other jobs.
Then the billions of dollars we're taking in with tariffs is the fact that we've got hundreds of plants going up all over the United States that never would have been here. I was with Howard and Scott and Texas Instruments the other day, and the head of Texas Instruments, they're going to spend $60 billion in the United States. And he said, "Sir, please don't do it to me." And I looked at him, I knew exactly what he meant. He said, "You mean tariffs, right?" He said, "That's right. If you ever get rid of those tariffs, you've cost me a fortune." They're all coming in because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're coming in at levels, and it only works for the United States because it doesn't work for other countries. But it works for us. We have a record investment. We have records in everything.
Yeah, I've said this before. There's a reason why tariffs are beneficial to the United States. And the main reason is that if you've ever been part of any type of a negotiation, the person with the money is the one who holds the power, right? So if you're the buyer, you're the one who's powerful in that situation. So that's why tariffs actually work for the United States, and they don't work for other countries, like you just said. It's true. And we buy everything. We've got the biggest swinging dick economically in the world by a lot, and we're the one who everybody wants to do a deal with. So if you have tariffs in place where you're forcing them to do certain things in order to avoid surcharges to be able to get all that good American money, then you are going to do whatever it takes to do that. People want to break into the U.S. market from other countries. They don't want to be prevented from entering. So if they have to open up a facility in the United States in order to break into the United States market, they would be more than happy to do so. And doing so will provide Americans with a lot of jobs that pay really well. So I really like tariffs. I think that they're a good idea. Like I said, I'm very kind of liberal economically, and tariffs have always been more of a liberal thing until recently.
And we will deliver no
Then
tax
Trump
on
said
tips,
it.
no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
Woo! Yeah, it's crazy that Social Security was getting taxed, isn't it? That doesn't even make sense.
Among the countless citizens who will benefit from these tax cuts is Malachi Krzyzewski, a devoted mom and DoorDash driver from Ripon, Wisconsin, who uses her tip income to support her son. To think of that, no tax on tips, and it was a very big problem. I was at a dinner in my beautiful building in Las Vegas, and unrelated to this, and I said, what's going on? I will never say good-looking waitress because looks don't matter anymore, you know, in our modern society. She happened to be beautiful, but I won't say that. I won't mention that, but nevertheless, a waitress came over, and I said, how are you doing? She said, not good, sir. Why? The government is killing me on tips. And she looked at me, she said, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it again. There should be no tax on tips. I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I walked outside, the press was there, as always, waiting for something bad to happen, hundreds of them. I said, ladies and gentlemen, please announce tonight there will be no tax on tips. And a legend was made. We won Nevada by so much. Republicans don't win Nevada. We won Nevada. So I want to thank that young, beautiful waitress. Thank you very much. But with no tax on tips,
she had the biggest rack I ever saw. Huge tits.
Per year, enabling her to achieve her goal of visiting every U.S. state with her son. She wants to visit every state by the time he's 18 years old. So, Malachi, it sounds to me like you're off to a fantastic start. And where are you, Malachi? Where are you? Congratulations.
Oh my God, they're real. They're real. Well, hey, look, I'm done with this. I'm not going to lie to you. This has been a mostly boring speech. Very cool, though. Very happy about a lot of the news. I'd love to see the big, beautiful bill pass, even though I'm not crazy about the deficit spending. But reportedly, it'll bring in, it'll kind of balance itself out, right? And it'll actually bring in more money GDP-wise because people will be paying less taxes in so many different ways that it'll increase the spending and blah, blah, blah. There's a whole arithmetic that goes behind it. I don't really know it. I feel like $1,500 more a year is, for the no tax on overtime thing, is actually like a low estimate. I feel like it would actually be way higher than that. But I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm really not. I do want to watch this video because it made me laugh. And this is going to be the last thing. We're going to log off after that. Here's the thing, guys. I got the new Dune game. And it's amazing. It's one of the best games I've ever played. And I'm going to play it tonight because I want to play Dune in Arrakis. But basically, Trump, this is the whole point. This is why I made the thumbnail. Trump brought peace. He is the Lisan al-Gaib! Lisan al-Gaib! Thank God for that. I'm so happy for peace. I'm so happy for no more wars. Thank you, Trump. Even though you look like Gru in your side profile, you're very sexy. We have a bot in the kick stream. We love bots. Thank you for boosting my views. Appreciate it. Let's go over here and let's do this. Let's watch this video. It's it's a big, great video. Amazing video. One of the best videos I've ever seen.
I'm sorry that I have anxiety. Okay, and honestly, yeah, it is kind of the fault of people like you that want to come up.
This guy was in a debate. And this dude joked that he was vaping, I guess. And I guess he doesn't. I don't know.
Here and bully and berate me over something that I don't do. Okay? So cut the shit. It's not a vape. All right? It's an anxiety pin. And God, the amount of times that I've asked you to respect me and respect my anxiety pin.
Respect me?
At this point, getting ridiculous. Korea? So please.
Justified crash out.
For the final and for the billionth time, will you please just respect the...
Yelling through his teeth, bro. Oh my God. This is such a good video. Hold on. This reminds me of... let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I don't want to look it up live. Hold on, let me see. Does it tell me this is it? Yes. This is the same exact vibe. It's the same video. It's the same video. This is the same video.
Working out. What? Oh my god. Baby boy!
It's an anxiety pen! I have anxiety! It's an anxiety pen! Oh shit. It's the same video, guys.
The fact that it's not a vape and that it's an anxiety pen.
It's a goddamn anxiety pen. Get it right.
What flavour is your vape?
Yo, you really get the fuck out!
He's gonna cry, bro. Oh my god, dude. Holy
Get
shit.
out. You get out too, you fucking weirdo. What? Dude.
Whoa.
Do you vape?
Dean Withers.
Parker, do you vape?
Prolific debater.
No, it's a damn fucking anxiety pen. Okay.
What the fuck? Dude. What? Okay, Joe, you suck. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next guest.
Bro, are you sure you can do that? You don't feel anxious about it? It's an anxiety pen!
Point getting ridiculous, Cody. So please,
Cody?
For the final, for the billionth time, will you please just respect the fact that it's not a vape and that it's an anxiety pen?
Oh my god, dude. I could watch that 100 times. It's so funny. Literally the exact same video as the kid shoving the remote up his ass. Okay. Trump speech, a little boring, a little long-winded, but that's okay. We love it. We love Trump. We have peace. Will peace last? We don't know, but we want it to last. And it's an anxiety pen. It's an anxiety pen. And that's it. That's it, guys. I am done for today. Only because I really want to play Dune. And so if you want me to play Dune live and kind of break up the news stuff, just let me know. I'd be happy to do that. Although, I won't lie, if there's like nobody chit-chatting with me, I'm real boring while I'm playing games. I just get like zoned in. I'm like, yes, I'm searching Arrakis for a base, and look at all these things I've built, and I have nothing to add to the game. The game is the content when I stream games. I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, when it comes to the news stuff, I've got a lot to say. So you can trigger me in chat while I play Dune if you want. Just comment below and let me know if that's something you'd be down to do with me. Otherwise, we're just going to stay the course. And there's one very simple reason why. And I already kind of covered it a little bit, but I think it's worth mentioning again. Guys, holy shit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is crazy. That's crazy, gang. That's crazy. Holy shit. We've not even been up for a month. That's so good. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. We did a lot of costume changes today. We covered all the peace going on with so much peace. Everybody's feeling peaceful. Didn't go for as long as I planned, but honestly, I've been just super busy with work lately, and I've been super tired. So, you know, we didn't get to do as much as I wanted. It was kind of tough for me to stay focused today. But, really happy we got to watch Dean Withers shove a remote up his ass. Really happy about that. That's pretty much it. That's all I got for you guys. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do have some long form projects that I haven't quite started working on, but I want to work on them. They're planned. Okay? So it'll be a little bit, but I'm going to be trying to put out more shorts. You guys love the shorts, so I'm going to be putting out more short videos. And, yeah. That's the long and short of it, gang. The long and shorts of it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you're on X watching, please head over to YouTube, youtube.com/CorbinDoster, and just hit me with a quick sub. And after that, Kick is only like a click away. So just head over to Kick and follow me there. And then, you know, if you're watching on Kick, of course, you want to go over to YouTube and subscribe, and then head on over to X and follow me there. I'm like, you know, it's right there. You might as well. And then if you're watching me on YouTube, thank you, first of all. Second of all, don't forget to head over to Kick and follow. And then go on over to X and follow me there. I love you guys. Recently I popped off on X. A bunch of people got really pissed off at me because I said something based. And I really pissed off the feminists. So I will show you briefly. This is me and my girlfriend. This is real. This is both of us in Bali on a trip. I am in a relationship. She's beautiful. More beautiful than this, really. But, you know, she is beautiful. And I'm not an incel. So eat shit and die, feminists. That's all I got. Love you guys. Oh, wait. It's over here. This is why I have to end it now. I can't even talk shit properly anymore. This is me and my girlfriend in Bali. This is real. This is a real picture. So, anyway, that's all I got for you. It's so hard to say bye. Once I start saying bye, I just want to keep not saying bye. But we're going to say bye. We're saying bye for real. Alright? You guys have been amazing. I'm going to let the music play for a little bit. And, just go ahead and jam out for a sec before you get ready to call it a day. Thanks again, gang. 10K views in a month, and not even a month, and under a month. That's so silly. Send your friends over, have them subscribe. We gotta get those sub numbers up. Everything else is amazing though. I really can't complain. You guys, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. Pray for peace. Thanks, everyone.